104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports, and now two-time Super Bowl champion Billy Davis sitting with us, wide receiver, 2 rings.
Yep.
You got the one that hurts my heart a little bit. You got a Baltimore Raven ring.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you. So I'm a Raiders fan. It's weird. It's a weird story. We won't get it. But I bring my daughter to her first NFL game. We go to Raiders Ravens at M&T Bank, and she loves it so much that she's now a diehard. My 13-year-old daughter took away her Amari Cooper jersey, said, I don't want this anymore. Get me a Steve Smith Sr.
Awesome.
So she's betrayed me, and she's a Ravens fan.
She loves the blue-collar effort. I love it.
Yep, absolutely. So that ring stings a little bit, and the other one with the Cowboys. What's this week like for you now? You've been through this as a player a couple times. Now you're here, helping us out, breaking it all down, and being part of Media Row.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is kind of a celebration for all former players to be able to come to a centralized location together, for camaraderie, brotherhood. You want to hear about some things from the past, and as well as what the guys are doing in the present, for us to reconnect. But it's finally the NFL has made an effort to allow to give us a forum to do that. Before it was just kind of like it's only what are you doing for me now versus let's get everyone here to be ambassadors for the game, because the best way to be the ambassadors is to disinclude your past to have your present be even more powerful. So for me, I think it's special, and for me, it's especially special just for the fact that I haven't officially vetted this stat, but someone told me I'm one of 18 guys that have only won a Super Bowl in both conferences.
Really?
So that's to be able, maybe I'm a bar trivia question now. There you go. You may
will
not
be now.
I am now. I may not be famous for a lot of things, but internally I'm very well respected. But I may be a bar trivia, so I'm one of 18 guys that did that. So I'm pretty proud of that. So that's what makes this a very special weekend.
How did a guy from El Paso end up going to college in Pittsburgh?
That is a great question. The Sun Bowl. So when we had the Sun Bowl, John Hancock Sun Bowl, which is a pretty prominent bowl it was before. Yeah. It was $1 million bowl, and back, now that doesn't mean anything. But back when it was $1 million bowl in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say it was only like 20 bowls back then.
Right. Right. When the bowl system really was had credibility.
Right.
As far as where you were placed. The Sun Bowl, they were playing Texas A&M. I was on the Texas A&M sideline, getting recruited by them. I was almost fully ready to go, sign a letter of intent. Funny thing is, Kevin Smith was my host, who was the first round draft pick that year, and Pitt was on the other side. And next thing I know, I flew up there, got a visit from Pitt, and this is when. I guess I'm dating myself. This is when we still had reel-to-reel highlights. It's not like because you didn't have the internet, so you had to go there. My coach comes in there with the projector, throws out there, says, "Yeah, take a look at this guy." The next thing I know, I'm getting calls from UCLA, Florida State, Syracuse. So that's when you can kind of discover undiscovered talent. And next thing I know, little kid from El Paso became I left the University of Pittsburgh as the top 10 receiver. I left her top 5, but now since then
things have changed.
Things have changed. Larry Fitzgerald happened and Antonio O'Brien happened.
Who was the coach when you were at Pitt?
So it was Gottfried and then Paul Hackett.
Okay,
and then I went to Johnny Majors.
So it was after Wannstedt? So was it?
Oh no, that was well before Wannstedt.
Well before Wannstedt. Okay.
Well before Wannstedt. So
I get confused. I just see the mustache bouncing through my brain. It's
Wannstedt was at the Dallas Cowboys at the time.
And that's where you end up. So you make your way to the pros. You're a Dallas Cowboy. You win your first ring with the Cowboys.
Yep.
What's it like to be a Super Bowl champion? We sit here and we talk about it, but you've done it.
Oh, well, it's really, there's only 51 of them.
Right.
And there's very few guys who've ever got that. And, people always have this notion of, you'll get there. Not everybody can be Tom Brady, for God's sakes. But even him, he's been there and lost it. I have the distinct honor of saying I've been there and never lost it. I don't know that feeling, don't ever want to. Thank God I never will. So there's one thing I have a one-up on. I saw Dan Marino today. Love him. Pitt all-time, number 1 quarterback of all time. But, I got these 2 rocks in my ring, and he got a gold jacket. Even trade-off. Nice life. Yeah. So, but I always tell people, obviously the sweetest one is the first one, but mine's even sweeter because I'm a kid from El Paso, Texas, who was a Dallas Cowboy fan who grew up that way, loved it, wanted to be it, and finally got to be in the locker room with the people that he admired. But then I made this joke the other day. I was like, unfortunately, if you were born on this day, when I last won my Super Bowl ring, you are now old enough to buy me a beer for me to cry in.
Wide receiver Billy Davis with us right here on Radio Row.
We are the home for the New York Jets here in Albany, and they just lost an offensive coordinator.
You're not much older than me, so it hurts. It stings a bit.
Chan Gailey, former OC for the New York Jets, somebody you worked with at your time in Dallas. What do people need to learn a little bit about Chan Gailey, something that we may not know that you know working with the coach?
Well, he's not the most warm guy in the world. He's a little bit of a prickly pear. Chan is very innovative. I don't see anything disparaging, but me and Chan didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But I will say this, that Chan is very innovative. There's a reason why he's still employed. You would hope that, with this new day and age of really trying to have a really multifaceted offense, you got to have the right pieces, and I don't think he has the signature pieces yet. I mean, and he doesn't have that signature piece. You could live by not having the complements of a great running back, but you can have a serviceable running back committee. You can have a good, as you can see with the Patriots, you can have a good, serviceable wide receiver core. You don't have to have Julio Jones,
right?
But you damn near need to have that quarterback who can run the show. And you can't keep having this revolving door of, maybe this guy, So by the time you look at it, it's 5 years later, and you've been going this whole time, and instead of having just that commitment for this person and just building for the future. But you fall in that trap, and so what have you done for me now lately? And I think that's what these guys get caught into.
Billy Davis, wide receiver, 2-time Super Bowl champion. So the Jets, they go with John Morton, wide receiver coach most of his career.
Right.
But like you said, I'm kind of shocked by this because you got Christian Hackenberg,
right.
You got Bryce Petty. I'm shocked they didn't go with a, quote, quarterback guru, and they go with a wide receiver coach instead. Can a wide receiver coach turn a quarterback around?
Did John Gruden?
That's a fair point. Okay.
Sure did.
And I think there's a perspective here because if you're looking at it, I don't really appreciate too much the quarterback guru coach just because the quarterback is so, it's such a undefinable animal, so to speak. But how I liken it to is from the wide receiver point of view. Usually that guy, that's why a quarterback could be a great head coach, and that's why a wide receiver could be a great offensive coordinator, because you're looking at it from the perspective of being in the right place at the right time for that guy to have the timing. So you can talk about timing with him versus talking about, if this guy's always worried about where are my feet, where are my hands, are my shoulders here? If you're sitting there all worried about the mechanics of it, I'm trying to reconfigure you into John Elway, then, you're going to be spending years trying to make this guy something. But if you say, look, you have an awkward release angle, let me just show you how to get angles here and there. But more importantly, I need you to throw however you get there and make sure these people are in the spots they're supposed to be in when you do it. So it's really, I think, from a wide receiver player, I think that's a smart move. Now, all wide receiver coaches aren't the same, but I think from my perspective, because John Gruden was my first coach when I played at the University of Pittsburgh, he's my very first coach, his very first job, and you saw what he became. So I think that's a great move.
Falcons, Patriots, big game coming up on Sunday. What's your prediction?
I would go with all the, typical one, but I definitely think Atlanta. Last time I picked Atlanta, they did an Atlanta move. I really think Atlanta has just, if they come in the way they came this last game, I just cannot see. I don't care what. Tom Brady does not have the firepower to keep up with that. If you're trading, if we're talking about trading aces all day, there's several more ones up the sleeve of Atlanta than there is of the New England Patriots.
Billy Davis, 2-time Super Bowl champion, one with the Cowboys, one with the Ravens. That one with the Ravens, upstate New York, probably not really interested in talking about for a couple of reasons. But, man, we appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Really enjoyed it.